So clearly reaching out to different people and making sure that they feel welcome in the space sector is something that we need to do more of. And who better to tell us more about how to engage with audiences who wouldn't necessarily see themselves in STEM? There's somebody else who's got 10 years worth of experience. So let's not, recreate the wheel. Let's learn from people who have been doing this and have also even trialled a session with Ralph Space as well. So hopefully Emma Egging, who is founder of the John Egging Trust, will tell us more about all the fantastic work that she's doing. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joanna, and it's a privilege to be here today. So we are in this room surrounded by some of the brightest brains in the space industry. And as we've heard already this morning, space is such an exciting sector and a sector that extends extraordinary opportunity. Today, I want to continue the fantastic conversation that we've already started in this session to examine how we can maximise that opportunity for young people, and in particular, young people from areas experiencing economic and social deprivation. This is an important subject, not only because it fits into the levelling up agenda, but because space has an ability, perhaps more so than any other sector, to ignite the imagination, to inspire, and to help young people achieve their potential. Some of you will be familiar of the work of the John Egging Trust, but for those of you who don't know us, JET supports young people from vulnerable backgrounds who are at risk of dropping out of education. We help these young people get back on track and make decisions that help propel them towards a better and brighter future. We currently work with the Royal Air Force and corporate partners to deliver our STEM-inspired programmes to young people across the UK. Our programmes reach out to young people who are living in poverty, experiencing or have experienced trauma, young people who are looked after or in care, young people or children who have additional educational needs or disabilities, as well as service children. In spite of the energy and opportunity that the burgeoning space sector offers, few people are really truly thinking about how the space sector can engage with the sorts of young people from the backgrounds that JET works with. And no one I've spoken to so far, whilst there's lots of brilliant work going on, is doing the work that we do as a charity, which is intensive early intervention work, reaching out to young people pre-16 from those areas which are lacking in opportunity. So this is the focus of my talks today. We want to tell you about the insight that we have from JET and the work that we do, which is changing lives, and ask about how we can work together to reach out to more young people. There are so many inspiring people and organisations represented here today, and we would love to work with you to put the space sector at the forefront of unlocking potential for those young people from areas and communities which are lacking opportunity. As we all know, the space sector is growing rapidly, and this is creating opportunity as well as challenge. Opportunity for young people of all ages to be inspired, motivated, and upskilled. Challenge because, as we heard, there is a skills gap. Challenge also because there is a danger that the young people that we work with are being left behind rather than raised up in order to be part of the long-term solution the industry needs, both for technical and non-technical skills. But for young people who are lacking in confidence and come from areas of social and economic deprivation that are lacking opportunity, support needs to be given at an early age, so pre-16, through targeted interventions which develop their skills and strengths over a period of time. And in JET's case, that's 1 to 3 years. The cost of living crisis has made life challenging for us all, but for those already struggling and on the margins, it's made life almost impossible. 1 in 3 young people are currently experiencing deep and persistent poverty. And even before the pandemic, young people from disadvantaged backgrounds were 40% less likely to get good GCSEs, 40% less likely to go to university, and twice as likely to be out of a job or the education system compared to their more affluent peers. there's no doubt that young people facing disadvantage have to fight harder to achieve the bright future that they deserve. Now, I'd like to bring this to life and share with you a story of one of our students who we're calling Gemma, who was part of our Blue Skies programme in Oxfordshire and had the opportunity with her school to spend a couple of days here at RAL Space. So this case study was written by Gemma's brilliant teacher. West Oxfordshire is portrayed as an affluent and well-heeled area. However, it hides many different dimensions of deprivation with low income, low educational attainment and low employment. Gemma is 12 and is a looked after child, having been removed from her home and parent who was deemed unable and unsafe to care for her. Gemma was selected by her school to join the John Egging Trust's Blue Skies programme in September 2022 to help her build relationships with others and improve her confidence. Gemma is a pupil premium student and is in receipt of free school meals because of living in poverty. Initially, Gemma was quiet and withdrawn and only spoke to one other student whom she knew from her form. She was reluctant to participate in activities in the first session and didn't want to present in front of the team. As part of our Blue Skies programme, we were incredibly lucky to have been invited to visit RAL Space. Gemma joined the other students in completing challenges to build teamwork and leadership skills, and RAL highlighted the many opportunities for potential future careers in STEM. Many students were completely awestruck by the experience, having never visited a real lab before and never met a real scientist. Allowing our students the opportunity to work with teams made them realise that a future career in science was a distinct possibility rather than an unachievable dream. They were exposed to a potential future that prior to their visit would have intimidated them because they felt it completely out of their reach. This collaboration with the John Egging Trust is priceless, since the experience levels the playing field for those students who are underachieving due to circumstances out of their control. Now students have been questioning their teachers about a future in science, specifically space, and how they might pursue this in light of GCSEs and A-levels. Gemma was really engaged at this session at RAL Space, and as the Blue Skies programme progressed and the students learned to work as a team, Gemma gradually became more confident and receptive. Her communication with adults improved, and she began to integrate better with her peers. Her demeanour after 5 JET sessions was more open, and although presenting is still a challenge for her, at the end of the Blue Skies 1 programme, with the support of her team, she gave it a go. As Gemma's teacher, I think she has made huge personal progress through Blue Skies. She has demonstrated strength and resilience and has noticeably gained confidence through teamwork in a range of activities. She's looking forward to Blue Skies Level 2, and she recognises herself just how much she's grown this last term. And I'd also like to share a really lovely comment made by one of the volunteers who were supporting Gemma and her friends on the JET programme. So a massive thank you to RAL for that opportunity. As this powerful case study shows, our programmes work. We have recently refined our theory of change, and this infographic demonstrates the change that we bring about. Despite the clear emotional challenges that young people on the margins face, schools have been asked to focus more on academic attainment than on social and emotional well-being. This is a problem. Indeed, social and emotional learning, which means building essential skills for life, including confidence, resilience, and self-belief, is often perceived as touchy-feely and nice to have for the students, rather than as an essential part of their competency toolkit for success. And it was so interesting to hear your comments, Joseph, about interpersonal skills and communication being on the top 2 desirable competencies for employers. So our experience at JET tells us that social and emotional, when supporting all young people, are crucial. A recent evaluation that's been undertaken on our work by the University of Northampton has found that the impact we have on the students that we support is improved educational attainment, enhanced employability, increased social mobility, and reduced inequality. The evaluation also told us that the cost to society of a young person falling out of education, employment, or training is at least £97,000 and at most £370,000 over their lifetime. Compare this to the £1,150 a year it costs to put a student through a Blue Skies programme and inspire them not only to re-engage with education, but determine the best route for their futures. So a relatively small investment of time and money at ages 13 to 16, when young people are really starting to make important choices about their futures, including what GCSEs to take, is often all that is needed to support the hundreds of students that we work with to stay in education and go on to make informed choices about their careers. So what we need to enable us to do more is three things. Firstly, we need access to opportunities and resources. Secondly, we want to link to inspirational people and teams working in the sector who are willing to volunteer their time to help deliver sessions. And thirdly, we need the vital funding to help us cover the map even more and to reach out to students from even more areas of the UK. What we've learned as an organisation over the last decade is that it's not about identifying an opportunity such as a post-16 apprenticeship and expecting a young person to take it up when they reach the right age. It's about setting the conditions pre-16 for a young person to have the confidence and ambition to want to take that step forward. And the opportunities really are boundless, but only if young people are empowered to access them and corporate staff are supported to engage effectively with young people and to develop their skills in this respect too. In November last year, the John Egging Trust held a space forum where I put forward many of the issues I presented on here today. Since that meeting, we've spoken to space-related organisations from the very top to the very bottom of the UK, from Shetland through to Cornwall. And we've started to work with many of these partners to make some fantastic opportunities a reality for the students that we support. But we know that we can do much more. So to wrap up, what we are talking about is a long game. And it was so encouraging to hear Paul Bate at the beginning of today talking about some key elements of championing space, space for education, education for space, because it is a long game and it will take time to break that correlation between being from a deprived background and underachievement. It will take time to grow our collaboration and it will take time to instigate change for the better. So it's important that we think about a 5 to 10 year lead in for this, not just what skills and jobs need to be filled today or tomorrow. In order to not only reach out to, but to change the lives of young people that we work with, we need to start working on this together now. So please do come and talk to me or my fantastic colleague, Nikki, if you'd like to find out more about us and what we could do together. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You are a fantastic advocate for young people who we wouldn't necessarily automatically reach out for. And I think Blue Skies programme is amazing and it's brilliant that we've managed to make or be able to help with that in some way. Are there any questions in the audience? I think probably everybody is slightly shell-shocked by all of that. Over here. We shall go to the artist, Helen.
Well, it's really about people. There's this thing that's obviously being shown that there are possibly younger people engaging with many other younger people and much more diverse groups. And the UK Space Agency, the way I really look at it, the UK Space Agency as a model from the last century, and all the people that are trying to reach out to this bigger and diverse group are of the 21st century. How do you see, how on earth do we get the UK Space Agency to properly engage, not the UK Space Industry, sorry, and UK Space Agency, yeah, but UK Space Industry, to properly engage with the young people and a much more diverse group of people?
So I think the good news is change is starting to happen there. So I think that vision of widening the lens, so fantastic technology, exploration in space, but I think we're hearing about that championing of space, the lens being widened. We're excited to be having conversations with the Space Agency about this very topic and how can we make sure that it is truly all young people. And that we are looking at all the whole, as Anne-Marie said, a whole range of different careers and not just perhaps the obvious. So I would say watch this space, and we're working on it. And there's a lot of work to do, but conversations are happening, and organisations like you've just heard speaking, we are all banging that drum for let's do more together.
Excellent. Any other questions in the room? No, I don't think there's anything online. Well, thank you very much. I think one of the, oh, sorry, I missed one over there. Sorry. Hang on, we'll just get a microphone to you so that everybody can hear. I think one of the points you're making there is just how can we make sure that we're coordinated, cohering all of these different activities, bringing them together, leveraging the best of STEMettes or leveraging the best of JET and making it into something that really works.
Thank you. Yeah, I think the thing I'm really enjoying about this session actually challenges as well, because you can see the data. These conversations, I mean, Helen saying 10 years, I think we've been talking about this stuff for about 30 years, actually. As long as I've had any involvement with the space or astronomy sector, there's always been issues about inclusion, about trying to broaden the base, getting enough people into the sector and all of those things. Now, I mean, your work sounds great. And, I guess the question I always have over any intervention is how do you know about the long-term outcomes, because often it's very hard and very expensive to make that work, to track a young person, give them the intervention at every stage they need, or for that matter, someone later in life who wants to return to the sector. So it's almost like a question for the whole panel, really, how do we make that happen? Because we sit there and we talk about fantastic work, and yet, we don't know necessarily whether that's going to have an impact in 3 or 4 or 5 years' time. They might feel more sympathetic to the sector, but whether it actually is enough to make them make a decision to move into it, it's a pretty different question.
Because our Blue Skies programme works over 3 years, we are able to track from disengagement and no understanding or interest in this sector. We are able to track over those 3 years the difference to attitude to learning, behaviour, but also that young person that had no aspirations, what are their aspirations? So we are able to check that. The big question is, so what? So they have an aspiration, they've taken the right GCSEs. So what? Does that mean they go into some of the industries we've talked about? That's harder because we work with young people up to 16. Tracking them when they leave school, and Anne-Marie's nodding, is really difficult. But we're working on that too, because we want to prove that funding that comes our way is supporting young people to truly go on and achieve the right job for them. So we are working on it. And I think, again, give us 3 to 5 years, especially through that collaboration piece. There's a real surge of interest and energy into doing this right and to tracking it and to demonstrating and to making a big splash in the pool, because we can see those ripples, but we want to acknowledge those and also support, because we can't do this without the impetus and the funding that we need. And we also know we need to then prove the impact that we have. But so summary, I think we are tracking, but we need more time, and we need to work together to show how we can do more together.
I think to agree with what Emma just said, we are tracking. Time takes as long as time takes, right? We've been running for 10 years and they're 5. There's still going to be a couple of years until they start working. And the challenge I would put to folks in the room, though, is to have a look at the intake, the people that you do have, the people that are applying, even the people that aren't successful, and have a look at who the markers are and who the organisations are that they're mentioning. I think this is something that has been really hard to do. Is it's only when someone hits a wall or someone hits a particular milestone that they'll remember, oh God, yeah, it was that JET thing that I did, or it was that STEMet session that I came to. And so we get them coming in, but it's after a while, it's, there's only so many feedback forms we can send and force people to fill feedback forms, right, to be able to track that in a way that doesn't feel intrusive, where we're then calling you and, on your 26th birthday, which has become our marker, where are you at your 26th birthday, trawling the whole internet. So I think my thing would be, we're trying as much as we can with the tracking on that long-term basis, but as much as we can get back from yourselves on, such and such has come through and she came along to this, or she enjoyed that, or he did that, would be really, really fantastic. And I know you already see it, but we see it with our alum as well. The number of partners we now have, because those young people have made that decision, gone into the sector and want to come back and bring more in. is growing and is huge. So we are doing the long-term tracking, but human life takes as long as human life takes, really.
Final quick word to Dave Parker at the front, just here.
I'm really interested in the conversation, really enjoying it. When Tim Peake's mission happened, the UK Space Agency put in place a huge STEM program that affected more than 1 million kids.
3
million kids, whatever it was. And there was a follow-up study done, I think, about 3 years ago. I have no idea who runs education in the UK Space Agency now, but it would be valuable to do another follow-up study to see the 6-year impact, 7-year impact activity, because that horizontal tracking is so powerful to justify further doing more, I think. And that's, is there anyone from education? Okay.
I think there are some plans to keep that tracking, but it is, as you say, it was a very wide reach. So how do you actually track it back? Anyway, we're running out of time. So thank you very much to Emma. As always, amazing advocate.